Welcome to Movie Caps. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Today we are going to discuss Point Blank, released in 2010. The film opens with a suspenseful scene where a man is running as he is being followed by two men. He calls the other man saying he's at the back entrance and he is not alone. He then asks the man to come and meet him, after which he tosses his phone into the river. In the following scene, this person get involved in a terrible accident. As those two men watch him, they are shocked and leave. The person who was supposed to meet him also arrives at the scene of the accident, but he leaves after witnessing the accident. The next scene features a man whose name is Samuel and his wife Nadia at a gynecologist getting a sonography. The gynecologist tells them that everything is fine but that they need to take extra care of themselves and remain bedridden for the remainder of their pregnancy. Nadia is 7.5 months pregnant. They come back home and share some good time together. The following scene depicts the injured man receiving medical attention at the hospital. Here, we get to know Samuel as a nurse working in the hospital. He is working in his cabin when one of the patient rings the bell. When he goes to check on him, he notices someone suspicious pretending to be a doctor there and tries to pursue him, but he flees. When Samuel checks on the patient, he notices the man had tried to kill the patient by removing his oxygen mask, but Samuel quickly identifies the issue, fixes it, and saves the patient's life. Meanwhile, a medical professional shows up and asks him to get aside and let him handle as the patient was suffocating after the respirator had been cut. When the cops show up to interrogate, Samuel claims that the man had left before he could see him and that he was too busy taking care of patients. During the police interrogation, we get to know that the man was involved in bike accident and there was ID to identify him. The policeman then inquires about his physical condition as he wants to interrogate the patient. The doctor responds that he has a stomach gash, some bruises, and a traumatic brain injury. The police officer gives her card to Samuel and requests him to be in contact if he remembers anything about the suspicious person. He also asks his junior to designate someone to be there so that he may call her when the patient is well. Samuel returns home to find his wife sleeping, so he curls up next to her. The following morning, he tells his wife about the incident that occurred last night in which a patient was being attempted to be killed. If he hadn't been present, the patient would have perished. Additionally, he tells her about the police. Suddenly, a man enters his home and starts beating him. His wife cries out his name Samuel in panic, and the man kidnaps his wife. While Samuel is unconscious, he receives a call from an unknown number. It is his wife, inquiring as to what he has done. Samuel asks about his wife. The kidnapper informs him that his wife will be the next victim, and he needs to get that guy out of the hospital. When he queries why us, the kidnapper responds, "Just do what I'm saying." He warns him if he tries to call the police, someone will be killed and he has 3 hours to do this job. Samuel begs him not to touch his pregnant wife. He sobs and pulls out the police officer's phone number. The next scene takes place in a police station, where an officer is telling his team that there is no room for error, that Myers is their top priority, that homicide cannot occur there, and that they want the best outcome. One of the cops claims that he has plotted his men there. The other cop responds, the tycoon Francis Meyer got iced in his office, to the lady officer's question about why they are working on it. The chief places Werner on this case. We see Nadia kidnapped in an abandoned factory in the following scene, and her spouse Samuel visits the hospital to see the patient he saved the night before. He tells the nurse that he is taking the patient for an X-ray. As this is going on, a junior police officer in the police station is able to recognize the patient as Hugo Sartet and he is on the most wanted list. A senior nurse arrives and tells Samuel that he can take him. Samuel asks the security officer to return in 5 minutes, but the officer is not prepared to leave the patient alone with Samuel. In the following scenario, the female officer discusses the allegations against the patient for being a wanted criminal. While the patient is being taken to the lift, Samuel is eyeing for the security guard's pistol. The guard gets a call and tells Samuel right away that they need to return because of something. In a floor under construction, the lift pauses and opens. Samuel gets a chance to get rid of the guard and takes his gun. The following scene shows Samuel helping Sartet, informing him that he is in the hospital. Sartet clings to him and asks, "Who is he?" To which he replies, "He's a nurse." Sartet tries to hurt him, but Samuel point the gun at him. After Samuel and Sartet manage to flee the hospital, a female officer enters the ward. She approaches his bed and asks the attendant about Sartet. He responds that Samuel took him for X-ray with a police officer. The lady officer asks her juniors to watch over them while they board the bus. A child sees Samuel's gun. Sartet winks at him. Later, Fabre watches CCTV footage of Samuel and discovers that they went to the 7th floor, where there are no cameras because the floor is undergoing renovations. Later, they see him return to the entrance. Werner approaches and informs Fabre that Sartet is linked to Meyer. Since Chief put him in Meyer's case, he tells Fabre to step aside. She informs him that Samuel has hit his officer, so it is now her case going forward. While Sartet and Samuel are traveling together by bus, and Sartet is preparing to inject Samuel, all of a sudden Samuel receives a call from a kidnapper, asks Samuel to give Sartet the phone. He tells him that he had followed Samuel from the hospital and had abducted his wife. Sartet queries about his whereabouts. In response, he says he is at a cold storage plant. Sartet tells him to stay there as he's coming, despite his friend's claim that Marconi is acting naive. Samuel asks Sartet about his wife. He assures him that she is okay and will return home tonight. Samuel shoots at him, telling him to stay and call them immediately as he wants her wife right now. When Fabre learns of the gunshot that occurred close to the hospital, she tells them she will be there shortly and asks her junior to watch out for Samuel. Sartet calls his friend to find out where he is. His friend is with Samuel's wife nearby, so Sartet tells him it's not a good place to meet as there is police everywhere, so he will come to the storage facility in the evening. He is not lying when he attempts to persuade Samuel that they must go immediately or else they will be killed. The police notice them and are pursuing them in an attempt to capture them. Sartet and Samuel steal a car from the parking lot. Sartet tells Samuel to drive the car as his stitches come loose, so he asks Samuel to get done with stitches first. After that, they go get his wife back. After repairing Sartet's stitch, Sartet goes to wash off the excess blood on his body. Samuel switches the television on to check the news. He is shocked to see that the reporters are portraying him negatively, claiming that he fled with Sartet for personal gain and that Sartet is allegedly involved in Francis Meyer's murder, according to sources. Following his observation of the events, Samuel calls Fabre and informs her that he is not associated with Sartet, rather, he's forced as they have abducted his wife. When Fabre questions him about why he didn't call her, he replies that he was threatened. Fabre asks him to calm down and disclose your whereabouts. He gives her the address. She warns him not to go anywhere since they are on their way. Sartet ties Samuel in a chair by pointing revolver at him, takes all of his possessions and is about to leave when Werner arrives and apprehends them both. Samuel claims he did nothing. Fabre arrives on the scene but Werner shoots her, thereby killing her. He orders his squad to kill Sartet and Samuel and record the footage so that Samuel can be shown as the one who killed Fabre. One of his squad members takes Samuel's fingerprints on the gun used by Werner. Sartet signals Samuel to light a fire there using a portable heater. After defeating Werner's squad and freeing Samuel, Sartet asks Samuel to stay by the window and alert him when the police arrive. Sartet then begins questioning the man who is going to kill him. The man tells him that there will be police everywhere in 5 minutes. Outraged, Sartet shoots his leg and interrogates about Werner. He tells Sartet that we are all police officers on the same squad. He tells him that he got the address from Marconi. When Sartet inquires about their relationship with Meyer, he responds that occasionally they provide Meyer with extra services. He informs him that a month ago, Meyer's son discovered he was disinherited. They were able to get his father to modify his will, but the son didn't wait to ask for their help and demanded that we kill him. The next scene is in the past where Sartet is attempting to decipher the code of Meyer's safe when the phone rings. As he approaches the phone, he discovers Meyer's body, and at that moment, police arrive to kill him. He then jumps from the building and sustains injuries. This is similar to the scene we saw at the beginning, where Sartet was running and 2 men were pursuing him. Sartet asks him about the video, to which he responds that it's in a USB key safe in Werner's office. Samuel warns Sartet about the police, so they escape. Sartet goes on a different way, leaving Samuel behind. Werner's surviving squad then tells the police that their boss had been killed by Samuel and Sartet, and both of them fled. One squad member then leaps to the opposite building in an attempt to apprehend Samuel. A police officer attempts to shoot Samuel, but he flees. They were able to locate him at a dead end, so he crosses a running train and enters a tunnel to avoid being apprehended by the police. After Samuel successfully eludes the police, the officers arrive at the scene and remove their boss's dead body. Werner asks one of his squad members if he cleaned his fingerprints off the gun. He affirms. Werner then asks him if Sartet asked him anything, to which he denies. Chief arrives and informs Werner that he only has 48 hours to clean the mess. Chief assures Suzine that he understands her suffering and that he is assigning Werner to this case. Chief orders Werner's team to apprehend them. On the other hand, Samuel steals a car from someone and makes his way to the storehouse where the kidnapper had hidden his wife. He locates Sartet there and requests to see his wife. Sartet informs him that she is still alive. Samuel is stopped from going to the police by Sartet because they both will be killed. Sartet tells Samuel that they have to get the USB in order to save Samuel's wife, and by giving that footage to police would land them in jail right now. The next scene shows Nadia speaking with a female police officer. Nadia asks her whether she is a cop, to which she ignores. After meeting someone at a restaurant, Samuel and Sartet go to meet someone. The next scene shows Marconi watching TV when Sartet walks up to him and points a gun at him. Sartet instructs him to bind his hands behind his back. He next knots his feet. Marconi warns that he is going to pay for it. Sartet calls Werner from Marconi's number and instructs him to tell Werner that they are coming there for money and a passport, to which Werner says they are coming. Werner also asks Marconi to call Meyer's son to come if he wants the footage. Following this, Samuel stops Sartet, but he kills Marconi. Werner's orders his men that once they kill Samuel and Sartet, they have to kill Nadia too and stage that as suicide. Then, we witness robberies and purse snatchings occurring throughout the city, which confuse the surveillance station. Suzine is about to leave the police station to look for Marconi when another squad member stops him. The police station is crowded with people complaining and running around. Sartet disguises as the policeman and knots Samuel's hand. Everyone is hustling, making it difficult for anyone to catch them. Both of them purposefully enter the police station and ask to see Werner's office. They then steal the guns from there and shoot 2 police officers. In the meantime, Werner visits the Marconi residence, where he is discovered dead. After realizing the full extent of the situation, he calls a squad member to kill Samuel's wife, and as planned, the squad member asks Nadia if she wants to go to the toilet. Sartet hands Samuel a revolver as they both enter Werner's office looking for footage. Samuel goes to find his wife. Samuel gets into a confrontation with a police officer, and her wife is trying to save herself as the lady cop takes Nadia to kill her. Samuel locates and saves Nadia, and the two of them rescue each other from the female police officer. Samuel then leaves with his wife. Werner goes into his office, and as soon as he opens the latch, he checks his locker. Sartet points a gun at him. Samuel and his wife hide in a room while he fights with the police. Meanwhile, Nadia is hurting and bleeding. Police finds them both and begin beating Samuel. Samuel cries out for help and begs for an ambulance, but they ignore him, telling them he didn't kill their boss. As the police is taking Samuel to another location, Sartet crosses him and puts the USB in Samuel's pocket. The whole team is watching the footage when Werner arrives and is arrested along with his men. Later, we see Nadia giving birth to her child in the hospital. They both weep happily after seeing the baby. After 8 years, we see Samuel and Nadia's children asking Samuel to play the tape so they may see the movie. As they all have a lovely family meal, we notice that Nadia is once more expecting, and Samuel opens a video. He learns of the 8-year-old case in which Werner was released from prison only to be discovered dead in the hotel room the following day. The end. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos.